Positive rotation. Ignition.
Welcome to Roll Call, a 126th Air Refueling Wing podcast of the Illinois Air National Guard at Scott Air Force Base. I'm your host, Master Sergeant Brian Ellison. The Roll Call podcast focused on people, mission, and community. Coming up on the podcast, Colonel Tim Huchel, the 126th Maintenance Group Commander, is our guest this week. He talks about the Flying Crew Chief program and the group's new maintenance goal. Also, I'll have a return to our Christmas tradition and play a Soldier's Silent Night. And this week's Around the Air Force, 17 B-1B Lancers and 800 airmen from Ellsworth Air Force Base will temporarily bed down at Grand Forks Air Force Base starting in December. 3 newly established Air Education and Training Command Centers have achieved initial operational capability, marking a significant milestone to re-optimize for great power competition. And additional reimbursements are authorized for pet transportation from countries with higher rabies risk. A reminder, we're in the last few weeks of the month, and it's time to convert your TRICARE to TriWest. I'll put a link in the description to point you in the right direction. If you don't do it by December 31st, your TRICARE, it's not going to roll over, and you'll have to wait 12 months to enroll. Personal financial counseling can help with personal budgeting, investments, major purchases, debt management strategies, options for financial assistance, retirement planning, TSP, and even help you compare that career move you may be thinking about doing. We're here at the end of the year, beginning a new year. Time to start thinking about our finances again. Jennifer Pohlsander, she's a personal financial counselor. She can help us with that. You can reach her at 618-873-2400. That's 618-873-2400. Her email address, I'll put it in the show notes, but it's pfc.scott at magellanfederal.com. Here now is Staff Sergeant Aaron Rodriguez with Colonel Tim Huchel.
Welcome. I'm your host, Aaron Rodriguez, and today we are joined by Colonel Tim Huchel. Colonel, how you doing today?
Good. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Sergeant Rodriguez.
Well, I'm glad that you had the time to come on with us.
Yes.
So we're going to cover one of the programs that you're a part of. And for those that are listening, the Colonel here is the commander for the 126 Maintenance Group. So the program that we're going to go over is the Flying Crew Chief program.
Right.
It's fairly new to the Air Force, right? And then we're also just going to discuss some about you and your life and what brought you here and your career and things like that. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Flying Crew Chief, what is that program, and when did it start?
So, Flying Crew Chief program. It's actually an older program. It's a program that's been around the Air Force for a long time, but we just implemented it a couple years ago within the Aircraft Maintenance Squadron. So what it is it's crew chiefs that fly along with the aircraft who have multiple additional skill sets, other than just the crew chief skill set, the AFSCs. So if a aircraft is TDY and it may break for a hydraulic issue, that flying crew chief is also signed off on hydraulic systems now, and they can repair their aircraft and then fly it to its next mission. So we have so that's been in the Aircraft Maintenance Squadron for about almost 2 years now, and we have 5 flying crew chiefs. We're training 2 more now, and once we get them up to speed, those will be specialists. So we have 2. We have 1 flying crew chief that's going to be in the maintenance squadron, and so we'll have 6 total actually. So once we have them all up and running, those 6 crew chiefs will be able to fly with the aircraft, fix it on the road, keep those missions going, and keep KC-135 flying.
Okay, so traditionally the crew chief hasn't been someone who flies with the plane.
They do. The crew chief flies with the plane. The bonus about a flying crew chief is that they have additional AFSC tasks they're signed off on. So when avionics breaks, hydraulic breaks, something on the engine breaks, they have those skill sets to fix it and keep the mission going.
So a jack of all trades kind of
exactly.
character.
Right.
So when a crew chief comes out of tech school, what knowledge base do they have? What are they capable of?
General aircraft maintenance on servicing and launching and recovery.
Okay.
So whenever they get signed off on 70 additional tasks to become a flying crew chief, they have the specialist tasks that they can sign off on the road or at home station, like I said, to keep that KC-135 flying.
Okay, gotcha. And then is there an order in which these secondary trades that they're learning, is there an order that they take them in, or kind of what interests them, or how does that work for you guys?
It's a set program. It's a set program that one of our senior master sergeants in AMXS set up. He went and got with all the specialist shops and said, what are the tasks that an aircraft normally breaks on the road that these flying crew chiefs would need to have the task.
Okay.
And then once we got the 70 tasks, and it took about a year for those flying crew chiefs, the people in the program, to actually get signed off and get it running. So the AGR program actually helped the flying crew chief program get implemented, because it's active duty's been doing flying crew chiefs for a while now. Now that we have AGRs that kind of parallel with active duty, now we can have a flying crew chief program in the ANG. And it was probably about 3 months ago that the aircraft maintenance squadron commander and the senior who was in charge of the program, Senior Carlson, they had an enterprise-wide teams event, and they rolled this out to other Air National Guard units who are also implementing the program now.
Okay, so are we among the first in the Guard that are
in KC-135? Yes.
Oh, okay.
So other airframes have had flying crew chiefs for years. C-17s have had them. So, but KC-135 in the Air National Guard, it's brand new, and we were the first.
Yeah. So the KC-135 isn't a small plane by any means. I imagine they can't just land on a forward operating base somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. So they would probably land on somewhere that's built up, that has crew chiefs and teams of maintainers there.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Not
okay.
Necessarily. They can land anywhere. They can land at a civilian airport somewhere, and they don't have any support. But they need to actually have those skill sets to, like I said, fix whatever write-up it might be to keep that mission going.
Okay. In the past, would you just like ship out a team over there to go fix that plane?
Right.
Okay.
They're called MRTs, and those are funneled either back to home station or through the 618th AOC, and they'll call back, and they'll have to send one or two specialists out to fix that aircraft, and it costs money and time, and then the Air Operations Center may have to retask that mission, so it takes a lot. So if you have a person on the aircraft who can actually fix the aircraft and keep the mission going, then that's huge.
Okay,
saves time and money.
How long is the program to go from not just the flight chief, but the standard flight chief coming out of tech school to being a full-fledged flying crew chief?
So they would have to have their 5 and 7 level, so that could take anywhere, depending on if they're a dual drill status guardsman or maybe a full-time, so it's going to take a drill status guardsman longer to get signed off. So if you have if it's in the perfect world, if you have the mess day set up and the crew chief comes out, it can take a couple years to get your 5 and 7 level, or 5 level, and then a 7 level down the road, and then about a year after their 7 level, then they could potentially get or be in the FCC program and get those additional 70 tasks signed off.
Okay, and you said you have about 6 people
Correct.
right now that are in the program, or they're
6 total. I believe we're adding one more from maintenance squadron. So, but 6 more should be by the end of this fiscal year. We should have 6 full-fledged FCCs up and running, ready to fly. Okay,
is that the kind of the minimum that you guys are looking for, or are you trying to add more in the future?
So we kept it to right about that number. Those are not the FCCs because the program, you have to fly so many missions, so you can't have everybody be a flying crew chief.
Right.
You can have people cross-utilization trained on certain stuff, but to keep the program running with the amount of missions that we have, you have to have a set number to make sure they have the missions that they have each month, to make sure that, because we have to go back to the National Guard Bureau and say, these folks are certified, they've flown these missions, and then they actually get additional pay for that also.
Right. And in the Guard, we have traditional and full-time members. Can anyone be a flying crew chief, or do they have to be a full-time member? Or?
They would have to be probably a full-time member, yes.
Okay.
It's probably the best case scenario. Our drill status guardsmen have the skill sets. If they were activated and we could have them some spin-up time, that might be the best case scenario for them. But we're really sticking to the full-time force, AGR force right now, especially when we're just getting this program the last couple of years up and running.
Right. Okay. So I don't know if I caught it before. The additional skill sets that they gain, what are those, and I guess what are the more difficult ones? How long would those take?
There's 70 tasks, and they're spread out across the maintenance squadron.
Whoa.
You can go everywhere from hydraulics to avionics to jet shop to, it's everything. Like I said, it's the skill sets that normally the aircraft would probably break on the road, and they would need to send a maintenance recovery team out to fix the jet.
Yeah. Does every bird have its own personality? Like each one has an area that might be weaker than the other, another jet?
They do.
So then you'd probably assign like a flying crew chief that's stronger in hydraulics if the plane has
not necessarily
some hydraulics issues?
All of our FCCs are strong. There's not one of them that I wouldn't send on the road with any aircraft that we have. So the Guard is inherently has solid aircraft, but they all do have their own personality. And And the bonus about the Guard is I have crew chiefs who have been on not just KC-135s for multiple years, but these same aircraft for multiple years. And that's probably the biggest difference between the Air National Guard and the active duty is I have techs and masters who work the aircraft, and active duty probably don't have that. They may have a little bit lower rank on each aircraft as a flying crew chief, and but that's probably the biggest difference. And it's not a dig on active duty. I was active duty before. It's just saying it's different cultures and different structures. And so if I have a crew chief, a master sergeant who's been on KC-135s for 20 and 25 years, they know the personality of that aircraft. They know, and they have some, they've seen some, they know some tricks that, to keep the Air Force or keep the KC-135 in the air,
right?
But the ownership of the KC-135, with being on that same aircraft for 15, 20, 25 years is huge, and you can probably tell that in just walking up in our aircraft and just seeing they're in good shape for a 65-plus-year-old aircraft.
Wow. That's awesome. I don't want people thinking our planes are breaking down all the time. Maintenance is a healthy part of mission readiness,
That's right? Exactly.
And our maintainers kill it all the time. I can't tell you how many awards I count in your guys' buildings for all the awards that you guys win for the quality that you put out.
We're pretty proud of our history and maintenance. So we've led the Air National Guard, Air Force Reserve, and active duty KC-135 fleet for 9 consecutive years.
Wow.
Like I said, in mission capable rate, and the last 2 years in aircraft availability rate. And that, there's a lot of things that play into that. First of all, it's the maintainers. We can't do it without them. It's a solid bunch. Love to work with them every day. I love to watch what they do. A couple other things is we have an association.
Okay.
And the association adds a different dynamic to us. We have 80 maintainers that work with us every day, and we train them, equip them, or we train them on the KC-135, and that's just an additional set of manpower that we can use to have a full up night shift too. So if a plane breaks at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, we can fix that plane in the evening, where some other Air National Guard units might not be able to.
Okay.
We also are implementing a weekend shift, launch and recovery weekend shift, where we can do that with the association instead of having people on standby. That weekend dedicated active duty crew will launch and recover our aircraft, which in the last 3 months we've been out here every weekend on some kind of mission, whether it's Operation Noble Eagle or whether it's a regular TDY, and that's just the nature of our business. But to have some flexibility with that is huge, and that's another reason why I think that our mission capable rate is very high, and it's a good mix. It's what, in my opinion, is what the KC-135 fleet, Air Force and active duty, and Air National Guard should do. It's the model, in my opinion.
Okay.
Being the association that we have, you have a group of Air National Guard folks who don't move, don't PCS, are pretty, they're grounded where they're at, and they've been on the aircraft for 10, 20, 25 years. And then, but you have these folks who come in and maybe here for 3 years and see that experience, get that experience, and then take it back out into the field, into the Air Force, and it's huge. That experience you probably can't get too many places.
That's awesome. And correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't we had other wings or officials come in to survey how you guys do it? And
we have. I'd say maybe 5 years ago, we had they came in and looked at our association and said it's probably the best association there is in the Air Force.
Wow.
And we agree with that. We're integrated.
Yeah.
Our association is integrated.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into the let's just say, for an example, the AMXS Line Shack. It's a group of crew chiefs, and besides some of them maybe looking a little older than others, but other than that, you might not be able to tell the difference. We're proud of I'm proud of our association. I'm an advocate of the association, and I think that I think it should be the model for the KC-135 fleet.
You guys feel like you have a pretty high morale with your record?
I believe we do.
I
hope we do.
I would imagine you do.
Right.
I mean,
we do, but it doesn't come without putting something on the troops, and that's something that if you want to be number one, there's going to be some costs.
Okay.
And that might be that Saturday. I tell them, who's on deck to work this weekend in case we have a broke jet on Thursday or Friday. Who's on deck, and if we can have some continuity with that and who's coming in. That's kind of why we implemented that active duty weekend shift to come in and take care of that, so our folks can have some predictability in their schedule.
Right.
Family time's huge, and I don't want to take that away from anyone, but we also have a job and a profession to take care of. So,
right.
But the predictability for our folks is huge, but we still, my goal is 90% mission capable rate. We've never done that before, but you got to have a goal, and it's just a goal. It's something we're shooting for, and it's tough because our aircraft, they do break. They are 65 plus years old. They do break, and it takes a lot. We just had 2 lightning strikes a little over a month ago on the aircraft running air at the same time, and we just fixed one. We just got one back in the green probably 3 days ago.
Okay.
And just watching the maintainers and work with engineering and get this aircraft fixed was just, I'm in awe of it every day just to watch them work. There's 10 bladder cells or 15 bladder cells in the bottom of KC-135, and they had to roll these back just to have some other specialists go in there and shoot and actually fix the sheet metal part of it.
And the bladder cell, that's where the fuel is stored?
In the bottom of the fuselage. That's part of it, and it's also stored in the wings also. But the bladder cells are in the bottom of the fuselage, and just to watch all the shops work together and get a good way forward with this aircraft.
Okay. So a couple of questions that I have from that. You said they're about 65 years old. What's the retirement age for an aircraft usually?
The retirement age. So I just was reading a NGB kind of staff notes last week, and the new goal for the KC-135 per A4 is 2075. So if you do some quick math,
which I can't, so you're gonna have to do it for me.
So 100 plus years of flying is what this thing.
That's the goal.
And the reason that I read this paper and the reason that they said that was because the sustainment piece is huge.
Yeah.
How do you get parts for this aircraft? Because we're having trouble getting parts for this aircraft now. And how do you do that? It's tough now. How would it be 20 and 25 years from now? With 3D manufacturing and things like that, there's a lot of opportunity there. But when the contractual part of it is probably one of the biggest issues with the KC-135. Contracts for said part expire, and then all of a sudden 5 aircraft in the fleet need this part. To get that contract back going, to find a vendor, to have them manufacture it is a long process. In the meantime, those 5 aircraft are broke or they're swapping parts with that aircraft just to keep it flying.
Wow.
And that's just not KC-135. That's a lot of aircraft in the Air Force fleet.
So that's an impressive goal.
Yeah.
But you still see some old Fords driving around, right?
You do.
So
yeah, right.
It's possible.
I mean, you can equate our aircraft to the 57 Chevy-ish, that's time frame.
Yeah.
So if you see the 57 Chevy still driving in 2075, then that's about, that's
and we're good.
Then we're good.
Okay.
We can still be flying it.
Good stuff.
Right.
Okay, so going back on the team, their morale, and your guys' record, with some, let's say, sports teams, right, that go undefeated, they get to that complacency stage, and then lose a game, and that kind of like throws off their whole style. What do you guys do to not plan for that, because you never plan to lose?
Right.
But what do you plan to do to keep up morale? I think you mentioned like family time, making sure there's like a work-life balance kind of thing. But as a team and working together and the cohesiveness of your team and keeping them focused on those goals, what do you guys tend to do?
Well, sometimes you don't meet your goals.
Okay.
Right? So right now we've led the, like I said, the KC-135 fleet for 9 years. Right now we're probably about 4th or 5th in the fleet. So we're not winning this year. If you go fiscal year, October 1st through September 30th, I mean, in the first quarter, right, we're at 4th place in 18 wings, right? Okay. So that's where we're at.
You taught other people how to do it.
So, well, you do. You raised the bar a little bit, and some folks, which is good, which is awesome. Yeah. But having said that, no, it's a marathon. It's a 1-year marathon. It's not a sprint. If we sprinted, we can hurt people.
Okay.
People hurt and have accidents. That's not what we're here for. The MC is a goal. Safety is the paramount thing for safety of flight, safety of people, safety of equipment. All of that is key, right? Everything else will fall into place. Yeah. So, no, it's a marathon, and that whole piece of the morale. Hey, we're shooting to be number one, and if we're not, we learn lessons from that. How do we change the things we do to be number one? Because that's what we want to be. When I took over the maintenance group, I said this is our goal, and what I want to do is, if somebody drives by Scott Air Force Base, they know that unit, that maintenance unit, is doing everything they can to keep those planes mission capable every day. And if we can do that, then we've done our job. And so, like I said, sometimes it's painful. Sometimes people have to work over. I get it. I never want somebody to miss a soccer game. Don't miss a soccer game. Come in after that. Do what you have to do. And that's where the morale piece comes in, that predictability of your folks. For Monday through Sunday, they know when they're going to work. They know when they're on a hook. But everything else with their family can be scheduled, and they don't have to worry about this place. Yeah. And the association adds that piece that we can do that. And that's why we've done really good in the last 9 years.
So what is the association?
We are an active duty association. So we have, in the maintenance group, we have 80 active duty maintainers that work with us side by side every day.
Awesome.
Yes. And so there's different kind of associations. The classic association where the active duty owns the iron, and then the Air National Guard is with them side by side. Active Duty Association, it sounds a little different, but Active Duty Association is the Air National Guard owns the iron, and the active duty is with us. Okay. So that's how it works. Okay. And
that's been a huge benefit to you guys.
It's a huge benefit. That's one of them. I'd say another benefit for, why we do so good, the experience of the Air National Guard. I'll give you an example. 1 month ago, if I had all 6 of my SELs sitting right in front of me, I had 200 years of KC-135 experience sitting right in front of me. 200 years. Wow. You can go to a unit, and there might not be 200 years of KC-135 in a flight or a squadron. Yeah. I got 6 folks sitting in front of me, and they have some kind of KC-135 experience right there. And those are just my SELs. And so that's the difference. That's what the Air National Guard brings to the fight, is the experience.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so change gears a little bit. Colonel Tim Huchel, when the uniform's folded and put away, who are you?
Family.
All right.
Family's huge.
That's a good answer.
Love it. Yes. They're my bedrock. That's why I'm here. They support me. But if I can spend every moment away from here with my wife and kids, and it's and then they're getting older. I got 2 boys, and they're getting older, and they're going on about their business, but that's okay. So
How old are they?
20 and 21.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they're living their own life now.
They are, right.
All right.
But no, it's good. But when I do, so also love sports. I'm still playing a little sports.
Soccer?
I'm not soccer. No.
Okay, you mentioned soccer. So what do you play?
So my two boys played soccer from when they were small. So it was fun watching. I never played soccer.
Okay.
So I got to learn a lot about it. But no, I played softball a lot now. So
nice.
I still
Me
play
too.
With the
yeah.
126 team. So
nice.
Intramural team.
What position?
Pitching and first base.
All right.
Right.
Good
Wherever
stuff.
they need me, but it's probably infield now.
Yeah. They put me in the outfield. I got to run around, and it's rough.
Right.
But
right.
that's the game.
But no, and then a little bit of hunting with my boys. I like to do that once or twice a year if I can.
Okay. What do you guys hunt?
Pheasant.
Okay.
Pheasant. That's what we've done. But sports and just spending time with family. That's what it's all about. When you get away from here, try to decompress a little bit and enjoy your time.
No, that's good. That's a great answer. Family's everything.
Yes,
and they help push us to do so much.
Right.
So military in the future with your career, where do you see yourself going?
So Tim Huchel has always said, whatever job I'm in, I just do it to the best of my ability, and hopefully good things happen. And it's worked out. It's worked out for me amazingly. So blessed for where I sit today. It's best job ever. But I just, whatever the Air National Guard, Illinois Air National Guard, Air National Guard, Air Force needs me to do, hey, tell me what to do and go do it. Because I'm a believer in, you do your job, you do it well, you do the additional things just as well or better, and good things can happen. That's been my theory, and I don't like to focus on a position, because if I do, I think that you can get skewed. You can, don't focus on that. You can try. You can do your best. You can, have goals.
Yeah.
But if you focus on something too much, then I think that it can, affect the way you maybe lead people, just because you're focused too much on that.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming in.
Well, thank you.
Do you have any shout outs to anybody that you want to give real quick? Or?
Of course, my wife.
All right, let's hear it.
I got to do that, and then the folks in the maintenance group, the support folks, the maintainers that I work with every day. Thank you for everything you do, and for my family support. I can't thank you enough.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming in. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Okay, everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
B-1B Lancers and 800 Airmen will be temporarily moving from Ellsworth Air Force Base, South Dakota, to Grand Forks Air Force Base, North Dakota, after an environmental assessment and legal review have been finalized. The temporary relocation will allow Ellsworth to complete a runway construction project as part of the base's preparations for the arrival of the new next-generation bomber, the B-21 Raider. The B-1B Lancers will continue to support home station taskings out of Grand Forks during the relocation that is expected to last 10 months. 3 newly established centers under Air Education and Training Command achieved initial operational capability, marking a significant milestone in the command's efforts to re-optimize the Department of the Air Force for great power competition. Lieutenant General Brian Robinson, AETC Commander, says the centers directly support the Secretary of the Air Force's directive for AETC to reshape and redesignate as a re-optimized Airman Development Command. 5 additional technical training centers of excellence are projected to achieve initial operational capability this winter. The DoD has updated the Joint Travel Regulations to accommodate service members transporting dogs during a PCS move from a high-risk country. The CDC implemented a regulation requiring a higher-level screening for dogs returning to the U.S. from certain countries that pose a high risk for dog rabies and significantly reduce the number of ports of entry for dogs from those countries. In response to the new CDC regulation, service members performing a permanent change of station move from certain high-risk countries may receive reimbursement up to $4,000 when both Patriot Express capacity and regularly scheduled commercial airline services are not available for pets. That's your look around the Air Force. I'm Airman First Class Malia Heemsoth.
If you're having thoughts of suicide or know someone in crisis, call the Military Crisis Line. It's 988. That's 988, and press 1. You can find all of our links on Linktree. That's linktr.ee/126ARW if you're watching on YouTube. You can download this on your favorite podcast app. And speaking of the podcast, we're in this newly painted, beautiful studio. We have nice, beautiful clouds on the wall. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you can see that. And our plan is to put the 126th crest in the middle of the wall. I want to say happy holidays and happy new year to everybody. I want to leave you with one final thing, and that is a Soldier's Silent Night. It's been a tradition to do that here on the podcast, and when I worked in commercial radio, to play it on my last show before Christmas. And a Soldier's Silent Night was written in about 1987 by a Marine. It was really originally called Merry Christmas, My Friend. It was, it did say instead of a soldier silent night, it was more of a Marine. But Father Ted Barrett, who recorded this in the early 2000s, changed it to soldier so that it would apply to all people in the military. This is a Soldier Silent Night as recorded by Father Ted Barrett.
It was the night before Christmas. He lived all alone in a one-bedroom house made of plaster and stone. I had come down the chimney with presents to give and to see just who in this dwelling did live. I looked all around, a strange sight to see. No tinsel, no presents, not even a tree. No stockings on the mantel, just boots filled with sand. On the wall hung pictures of far distant lands. Medals and badges, awards of every kind. A sobering thought came alive in my mind. This house was different. It was dark, it was dreary. I had found the home of a soldier. I could see that most clearly. The soldier lay sleeping, silent, alone, curled up on the floor in this one-bedroom home. His face was so gentle, the room in such disorder, not at all how I pictured a United States soldier. Was this the hero of whom I'd just read, curled up on a poncho, the floor for a bed? Then I realized the other families that I saw this night owed their lives to soldiers who were willing to fight. In the morning round the world, children would play. Grown-ups would celebrate a bright Christmas day. But they all enjoy freedom each month of the year because of soldiers like the one lying here. I couldn't help but wonder how many lay alone on a cold Christmas Eve in lands far from home. The very thought brought a tear to my eye. I dropped to my knees and I started to cry. The soldier awakened. I heard his rough voice. "Santa, don't cry. This life is my choice. I fight for freedom. I don't ask for more. My life is my God, my country, my core." The soldier rolled over and drifted to sleep. But I couldn't control it, and I continued to weep. I kept watch for hours, so silent and still, as both of us shivered from the cold night's chill. I didn't want to leave him on that cold, dark night, this guardian of honor, so willing to fight. Then the soldier rolled over with a voice soft and pure. He whispered, "Carry on, Santa. It's Christmas Day. All secure." One look at my watch, I knew he was right. Merry Christmas, my friend. May God bless you this night.